I put together a couple of slides just to showcase monochromatic art, and even just to see how, when you look at a piece of art, how you feel about color. You know, what does it evoke the same emotion in everybody? You know, does blue necessarily mean sad? You know, that kind of a thing.
And it's the same thing in music. Does minor necessarily mean sad, right? Does major mean happy and minor mean sad? No, that's not the way it works.
Right. I think it depends on the intention of the artist, and then the intention of the viewer, how you see or hear and interpret.
Right. It's what your life experience is, what you bring to the table. Like what, and it can change day to day too. If you've got a bad day, a piece of art might feel differently than the next day. It might feel differently because you're having a good day. So
right, yep. Right. So it can change. So how do you guys feel about this one? This is a very famous artist named Josef Albers, and he created over 1,000 of these homage to the square, and, you know, changing up the colors. Sometimes they were like this, monochromatic, meaning all the same color with, you know, the addition of white and black to change the shade and value. But he did over 1,000 of these things, you know, and they all do make you feel different because depending on the color. For this one, I'm not sure. I feel like it's going, am I going in a tunnel? Is something coming out? You know, is it layered that way? It's kind of also an optical illusion. What are your thoughts?
I find it like a little, because I like things to be symmetrical. The fact that the top is a bit bigger than the bottom, the spacing there, it kind of, you know, it makes me a little anxious, and the red helps to do that as well. So to me, this is anxiety.
Yeah, I like, it's very organized to me. So I like, you know, the fact that it's organized, and like Mrs. Tordo was saying, like it's got that feeling of going away or coming at you. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. See, so 3 different views. How about this one? Andy.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to start. I'm just going to say I feel judged. I feel like he's mad at me. I did something. He's judging me for it. And I'm not, I don't know. I'm uneasy.
He should fire his stylist. Yes.
He's got devil horns.
I don't know. The mom in me wants to just fix that. I don't know. It doesn't really resonate well with me.
I wonder if it would, to me, I feel like he's angry, and the red is helping that, right? For me, I wonder if it were green or if it were purple or light blue, would I get a different emotion from him? Is he curious? Is he intently listening to somebody? Or is like the red to me is playing into my feeling of it being angry?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in his facial expression, but the hair distracts me quite a bit.
Okay. Sorry, I should have asked if you guys were ready to move on. Here's one that, to me, I don't want to be here. This is either before or after something really bad's going to happen. I do not want to be in this picture. This, to me, is ominous, you know, very, I don't know, something bad. It just doesn't feel right. It kind of makes me uneasy.
Yeah, I feel like, sorry, Mrs. Lopes. I feel like I could go either way on this. This could be a morning sunrise, right? I could be out camping. I could be ready to go on a fishing trip, and this is like the morning sunrise. But for me, the red doesn't affect me here as much as the motion of the graphic, right? The whatever's floating in the sky, that means, and the way the trees are, to me, it feels like there's wind. Maybe a tornado is about to happen or something, some bad weather storm is coming in. But if it weren't for the motion of that, I would feel this could be, you know, morning on the farm or morning up at the lake in Maine, and we're going to go fishing together. So
the blurriness adds to that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The splatter pattern looks to me a little disturbing. And then like the blurriness of the lines, the fact that it's, you know, this out of focus almost. What it almost seems like waking up from a nightmare or something like that to me.
Yeah, you can see that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Now, how do we feel about that one? That doesn't make me feel uneasy or nervous. This is the same thing. It's all shades of red. However, it doesn't make the same impact, does it?
No. And I don't I don't feel he's judging me the way you felt judging me, Mr.
He's just asking to be pet.
No,
I mean, it's just adorable, but it also does convey. I'm getting the feeling of like, oh, this is a warm, snuggly moment with your pet, as opposed to the red being different.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
different emotions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same color. Now I threw this blue in here. This is a guy, Yves Klein. He actually made this blue, literally made, this is his blue. It's actually called International Klein Blue. He released it, I believe, about 15 years ago, now that everybody can use it. And it's like a secret formula of ultramarine blue powder and some secret sauce, he calls it. How do you guys feel about this one?
I mean, secret sauce like mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together, like the
yeah, but I don't think it's mayonnaise and ketchup.
You don't know, do you? It's a secret, so you don't really know.
Secret.
I love this. To me, it feels very peaceful. I feel like with the texture of it, especially, it feels like a calm moment on the lake or the ocean, or I get a sense of peace from this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me sad like blue when you think, oh, I have the blues,
Right.
It's sad, right? But
Yeah.
this to me isn't sad.
This vibrates to me. It also makes me think of like if you zoomed in on something, if you took a picture of like a grainy piece of wood, for example, and then put a blue filter over it, it kind of has that. So to me, it has a bit of like a naturalistic element to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't resonate as sad to me, despite the fact that blue is traditionally used for that kind of emotion.
Right.
Agreed. Now, The Old Guitarist by Pablo Picasso. I think that we're probably all going to be in somewhat of an agreement here. You know what? I'll talk about it after you guys react to it, I think. So what do you think of this one, guys?
So having studied art history in college, I know some things about this painting, but also there's another perspective that I don't remember being spoken about in my art history class. And that is, to me, he's very pensive. He's thinking really hard. Maybe he's writing a piece of music and he's thinking about it. Because I can see a guitarist like trying to remember the chords to a piece and going, oh, what is that? But again, and when you bring the downward motion of his body, somebody can think he's sad or he's depressed. And then you add the blue monochromatic tone to it. It sort of conveys that. But to me, I can see this as being a moment of like, oh, what was that chord? Wait a minute. How do like whatever, that kind of a thing. So
different interpretation. Yep.
Yeah. I see it as there's tension. You know what I mean? There's tension within his muscular structure. There's tension within his face. It's very straight. There's lots of straight lines. To me, there's no ease in this. You know what I mean? There's no comfort to this. So I don't know. To me, it is a bit sad in that this person is struggling with something, be it just a creative endeavor or possibly loss or grief or what, we don't know. I mean, we do know from art history, but it's, to me, it does evoke a little bit of sadness.
Yeah, you'd be correct. I mean, he painted this after the loss of his best friend. He was also very poor, Picasso, in 1903 and 1902. So this was, showing, if you look at this man, he's got no shoes, his clothes are tattered, you can see his body's even a little contorted, and, of course, looking down always kinds of makes you feel, sadness. So knowing that backstory, it's hard for me to look at it any other way. Right. But, it's just, and that's the effect of color, the effect of placement in art really conveys strong emotion.
Yeah, definitely.
How about this one?
Go ahead, Mrs. Lopes.
Okay. This looks like a forest I'd love to walk in, go camping, and I don't mind that. The only thing that kind of broods any kind of like maybe something's going to happen, a little trepidation there, is the line of the tree of the shadow, right?
Yes,
right in the middle there. Other than that, this looks like I don't know, a late afternoon or late evening, I should say, walking in the forest.
Yeah, this has a twilight feel to me too, like the moment of, heading back to your tent after a long day of having fun on the lake and, heading through, and there's a freshness to it. There's a freshness and a crispness to the air. Like this to me feels like a moment I'd like to engage in. And I don't get the trepidation from the tree shadow either. I get for me, that's just another representation of the twilight and how the day is coming to an end, but I'm celebrating a day that I've had outdoors, because for me, a day outdoors is awesome.
Do you know the song Erloin King?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of just makes me think of that.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. How about that one? Okay, I'll start right now for this one. This one spooks me. I mean, the tree to me is, those two trees are almost dripping, like, down. And, if you look at the fate of all the other trees before it, they've all been cut down. These feel like they're the last two holding on. But even like I look at the roots of this tree, it looks like hands, like digging into the earth. And then you've got like the happy, fluffy, cherry or willow trees to the right of it. That is just such stark contrast. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Look at the color of the sky. Notice on the left, it's very dark. Yep. And like a storm is coming. And on the right, it's like a completely different world.
Yeah, this is like that, the two paths converge in the wood kind of story where you choose one or the other. And, and some people, and this is to our point about how all the global crises that we're discussing, right, have had impacts of all different ranges of emotion, right? And so this piece in particular has two different ranges of emotions right in the piece. And there's moments of dread and moments of anger and moments of sadness, but moments of hope and moments of, silver linings you would never have predicted and all those kinds of things. And these are sort of both in the same piece of work to me. So it's kind of cool representation of for me, this would be a great representation of the pandemic and of my feelings related to the pandemic because of all of this emotion back and forth between the two sides of the painting.
Right, because there's been some positives and there's been negatives, right. And it's all combined into this one piece.
And that's the thing, along with artwork and music, right, in your interpretation, what you bring to it is your interpretation. But along with that, same thing with emotions surrounding whatever you're going through, right? And so we've all been through this pandemic together. All of the emotions that you're feeling are okay. They're all right because they're yours. And how you deal with them and how you cope with them through art, through music, through athletics, whatever it is you're doing to help yourself cope and deal and face and be honest and work with the emotions, that's all okay. As long as you're bringing them to the surface and working with them, right? That's an important thing to remember.
Being aware of them.
Right.
Yep. Through. Yep. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed that's interesting, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, now that we've looked at a few of these with like the monochromatics, I'm starting to actually see colors. Like my brain, because I know what I want to see in this, it's gestalting like colors that I know are not there, but I want it to be there. Like a little bit of sun, a little bit of yellow.
Sure.
It's interesting.
That is interesting.
Tricks on you. All right, let's go one more. Now, come on. To me, this is joyful. This is a happy turtle. He's swimming. The sun is shining overhead. To me, it's a beautiful little space for that happy, solitary turtle. Notice he's alone.
Yeah. So unless you're somebody who has a fear of the water, right? And if you're looking at this as you're underwater, there may be anxiety to it for you, right? You can see this beautiful sunny, I personally love to lay at the bottom of the lake or the bottom of the pool and just look at the refracted light through the water. But for some people who might have anxiety tied to the water, this could evoke an anxious moment, which goes to our whole point about the interpretation being up to you.
Right. 100%. Yep. And then this is just some student work that we found. And, you can see it's much the same type of thing. They were learning landscapes and going from the darkest value to the lightest value in all of them. Some starting on black, some starting on the dark representation of that color. But you can see even within each one, which ones make you feel differently. Like I feel way differently about the green one than I do the red one.
Yeah, for sure.
This to me seems so happy and like joyous in springtime. And this seems again like ominous and foreboding.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Well, thank you for letting me share my little, slideshow with you guys.
Of course. From here, yeah. So from here, you guys are going to listen to Mrs. IT talk a little bit about monochromatic, about the functionality, how to actually execute,
how to control,
Right.
how to control the color.
So that
Because
go ahead.
So yes, they should know that they're going to be part of a giant installation that's going to be outside the doors of by the flagpole, an interactive installation where they're going to be responsible for their own tile.
Yeah.
And you need to do this tile and get it back to us. And you'll be doing it in using one color with the addition of black and white. And I'll show you how to manipulate those in a minute. But you got to think about the one color that represents how you're feeling. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And the important thing to remember as you go through this is Mrs. IT is going to talk to you about shape or whatever your image is that you want to represent, and also the color. So you have to choose what the thing is going to be. Think back to the Andy Warhol picture, right? And if I was seeing that in a different color, would I have a different emotion to it? So you're going to tie your shape and your image to the colors, to the monochromatic color. And it's important that you let yourself dictate it, right? It's important that you don't get influenced by your friend who says, so you should do blue because blue, it's important that you are in touch with your own emotion here. And it's really okay, whatever it is. And remember, and we spoke about this before, that artists and musicians are going to create art, but they're not going to then go to the audience and say, you should feel this way about my art. It doesn't happen that way. So somebody might see your tile and think, oh my God, that's the happiest thing. And you were like, I was trying to get across that. It doesn't matter. It's again, goes back to what you bring to the table, how you interpret the art and the music.
Correct. I mean, that's what you see that a lot in music where artists are asked to explain their songs and they refuse because you know what? I'm not going to tell you, Freddie Mercury, I'm not going to tell you what Bohemian Rhapsody was written about. What does it mean to you? What do you think about it? Because once an artist tells you, well, this is what I wrote it about, that's your image then. That's what you're going to think about. And that's not the point of art.
Yeah. And that's why when we give you assignments in class, like in digital arts, integrated arts, stuff like that, we don't give you a fully formed project. We give you a sketch of how to do it and, the technique and the tools that you need. But then we ask you to construct something that has meaning to you instead of telling you exactly what to create, because that's copying. That's not really authentic.
Yeah. We do the same thing in the band rooms, Mrs. Lopes, where I always talk to the kids about, you need a mental representation. You need a story in your head of what this music means to you. And you do the best you can to get that story across to the audience, but understanding the whole time that the audience might hear a completely different story, and that's okay. That's really okay. As long as you're projecting a story, they will get a story. They might not match, but they will get a story from it. So do really focus on getting a story across when you do your tile. Do focus, not like a cartoon, right? Necessarily, like whatever. It can be a heart. It could be a whole picture of something, or it can just be a Zentangle. It could be anything that speaks to you and your emotion tied to, and your feelings tied to going through a year-long pandemic.
Right. So these are the tiles you're going to get. You need to keep this cup because it has to transport back and forth in it. They're very delicate. And if you drop them, they will break. And we really don't have enough for that to happen. So please take very good care of them. You'll notice when you open them, there's two sides to them. One of the sides is a little rough and has a sharp edge. That's the back. Okay. You want the one that's got the rounded edge. That would be face up. So as you can see, this is very, very small. You don't have a lot of space. But you can use paint, you can use colored pencils, crayons, anything that you deem, that you like. You could even use markers. That's okay too. But you're using only one color. And then in a minute, I'll show you about how to blend. I personally think you have the most control over a colored pencil with a project like this. And then you can add white and black to it to make different shades. So this is what you're going to be designing, decorating, and bringing back to us.
Cool. All right. So we're going to let you guys take a little bit of a breather, maybe a minute or two, and then you guys can start the video that Miss IT will show you the technique to actually using the skill of monochromatic painting and drawing. Okay.
Right. Yes.
So,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.